So I'm here again today at Paisley University. I'm going to start here, you can see, and I've not got any props on them, but we have Mr. Alien, and I'm going to try a wee bit of fake or real with people on the iPad, and see if Mr. Alien can draw some attention and then maybe invoke some conversations with people. I'm hoping that I get some students here today so that they talk about it within the university, and maybe even speak to some lecturers, try and draw some of these people out. So we'll see how it goes. So now we've got another lovely chap here who's willing to talk to me. What's your name, sir? Sean, I'm Delman. What it is, Sean, is I'm trying to bring awareness to people and invoke some discussion with people. Oops, shit. I'll keep that there. So I'm asking people if they know about science and the difference between pseudoscience and religion and what actual science is. Right. So if I was to say to you that for me natural science is about measuring, testing, observing, repeating, and that's how we establish, facts of reality rather than beliefs. Would you say that was true, that description?
What was the last part again? So you just take your facts, your measurements,
yeah,
to prove belief?
Well, no, because if you prove something to be a fact of reality, yeah, then it's not a belief. You don't require belief, it just is, you know it. Yeah. So I'll start off by saying, do you trust your own senses?
Yep.
You do? Would you trust your own senses over an image?
Yep.
Yep. So if I was to produce an image for you and showed you the Loch Ness Monster, would you take that as scientific fact?
No.
If I produced an image of a unicorn, would you take it as scientific fact?
No.
What if with those two images I gave you a detailed explanation and I even come up with some equations to try and prove that they were real? Would you take that as fact?
No.
Do you know that mathematics is a formal science? So formal science, is different from natural science. Mathematics is a language which can be manipulated. So you can start from a false axiom and you can create a mathematical construct that works on paper, but it has to match observable reality in order for it to fall into the terms of natural science. Would you agree with that? Without the observation, it doesn't really mean anything, is that? Would you say that's true?
Yeah.
Yep. So if I ask you to look at this wee diagram here, can you tell me if you agree with that or not?
Right, okay, yeah.
Yep. You would say that that's everyday experience, tested, observed, repeated.
Yep.
That's how water, liquid behaves here on Earth.
Yep.
Yep. So you would take that to be factual then. That's a fact of reality. I mean, it doesn't matter what we do. That's how bodies of water, liquid, settles and behaves.
Yep.
Yep. So the point then is going back to imagery. Have you ever seen the Earth with your own eyes from space?
No.
Can I ask you, do you believe that the Earth is a globe?
Yes.
Could I ask you why?
All the scientific facts around it.
Could you give me one fact?
Well, obviously you've seen the pictures that are taken from numerous scientists who have seen it. I don't believe the facts of one man, but I believe that numerous people see it.
Right.
And there's loads of things that would state that the Earth is round.
So would it be true to say then that you do believe it because of what you've been told and what you've been shown?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not an actual knowing, you've never really experienced the Earth as a globe yourself?
No, there's a lot of things I've not experienced that I believe is scientific fact.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So if we go back to this again,
okay,
and I says to you, would you trust your own common sense observations over an image? You still state that to be true?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that there is a fact of reality. Now that contradicts vast oceans clung to and conforming round a sphere. Would you say so?
How so?
Well, that's not how liquid behaves. Liquid doesn't have the ability to support itself.
Yeah.
Right, it always falls flat and level. So if the Earth's 80% covered in water, how then can it be a globe?
You've got gravity.
Could you give me a practical example?
Of gravity?
Yep.
Well, like your bit of paper just flew and fell to the ground. It didn't fly and keep going up to space.
Yep. So before I explain that, helium balloons, they rise. Do you know why they rise?
The gas inside them.
Yeah, but why do they rise?
Helium.
And why is it though?
Balloon.
Would it be safe to say that the helium is lighter than the air?
No.
So why is it?
I don't really fully understand how helium works.
Yeah.
I'm not looked into it.
But it does rise.
But it does, yeah.
Would you call a helium balloon an anti-gravity device?
I suppose in a sense you could.
Yeah. See, my explanation and what we observe when we test and understand is that when something is more dense than the medium that it's in, it falls.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, gravity is a theory that was devised in order to give an explanation for why things are stuck to our globe.
Yeah.
And why things don't fly off the globe. So, but the thing is, you know, for me, you have to prove the first premise, and that is that the Earth is actually a globe first. So, if I ask you again, have you ever seen curvature with your own eyes?
As in something be curved?
The Earth, have you ever seen curvature of the Earth with your own eyes?
No.
When you look to the horizon, I take it you know what the horizon is?
Yep.
What shape is it?
Well, you just see it go on.
Yep.
My eyes
But
can't see
across,
miles and miles
across
and
the way?
miles. Across the way? Well, it looks flat, but that's how you perceive it.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to the bottom of the earth, you don't believe that you're upside down. You know, you are straight.
Yep.
That's just how it
We'll understand that in relativity stuff,
Yeah.
but the first premise again, we have to prove that it is actually a globe first. So
I mean,
I'm looking to
the only
see.
thing I could say is, like, if, you know, there's trust enough for us to go up, if we had the money, no one would stop us.
Yeah.
So if they can strongly, you know, be happy enough to let you go up and see it with your own eyes, then.
But so is it open to the public to go up and see it with their own eyes?
Yeah.
No, not yet. So they keep promising that that's going to be the case. So my problem again, you know, because when somebody makes claims to me about reality, I go back to natural science. I'm not a religious guy. I have always based it on empirical facts.
Mm-hmm.
So when I hear people making claims, I look to natural science to see if the claims hold up. So what they tell us is that space is a vacuum.
Yep.
And that we live in a positive pressure system. Do you understand what that means?
Yep.
So again, when we go to testing in reality, opposing pressure systems, negative and positive, they require a solid barrier between the two of them, or they will equilibrate. So if they're telling me that there's a vacuum up there with no solid separation, I can't believe that, because that's not what we test and observe in everyday reality. For me, if that was the case, there would have to be a solid separation. Would you agree with that?
That's what you believe. I've not looked into it enough to.
Well, I would call it knowing rather than believing, because again, you know, unless somebody can prove to me through empirical fact, then it's, you know, I'll accept it. But when I'm asked to believe it, I have a real issue with that, especially when I can't experience it.
Same as anything, you can't prove that the Earth is flat. Then, if you're saying by your theory, then you can't, you know.
Yeah.
If you go by that, then it's completely unknown what the Earth is like.
Well, you're exactly right.
But
You're
I do believe it is
a ball.
Spherical.
Yeah.
Well, not completely, but yeah.
Although you've never experienced that for yourself.
No, but I've learned some science about it, and I do believe it is.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, you know, I can claim that the Earth is a level plane, and I can provide actual measurable proof of that claim by going to natural physics, things like water, by going to the fact that the horizon is always flat and level, by claiming that there is absolutely zero measurable curvature anywhere. It has never been measured, it has never been observed on Earth. I take it you've flown in aeroplanes?
A couple of times.
When you go to altitude, say 30 odd thousand feet, the horizon is at your eye level and straight out in front of you, and it's still flat.
I don't really look out the window.
Well, you know, I would encourage you to do so. I realise that you're quite busy there, my man,
Yeah,
and that you want to go, but thank you very much for your time anyway.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. I'll just switch this off. Hold on, mate. Got an interested party here, man, so you want to know what the alien's about?
I want to know what the alien's about,
Are
mate.
you interested in, like, disclosure and things like that? So do you believe in aliens?
Aye.
You do believe in
It's
aliens?
a bit ignorant to think there isn't, isn't it?
Well, some people would say, you don't mind me filming, this is for my YouTube channel, man, no?
Man, feel free.
Are you in the college here?
No, mate,
Or the university?
I don't go to college, I don't go to university either, mate, I'm just walking home.
What age are you, my man, if you don't mind
22,
me?
mate.
So when did you leave school?
Me, 17.
17? Do you know about science? You know about science?
Not much, mate, but I know a fair bit about aliens.
You know a fair bit about aliens?
Aye.
Well, really the aliens is just a prop for something else, because disclosure for me is not really about aliens. Disclosure for me is about something a lot more real than that. Do you want to hear about it? You want to hear about it? Right. Just bear with me, people, till I set this up. So I'm just going to set that there right now. What I'm going to do, my man, is I'm going to show you some pictures here on the iPad, right?
That's
And I'm going to ask you what you think of them. So, if you just take that iPad for me, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this first image, and I'm going to ask you, would you accept that as real? What we have here is a religious image.
I know it's
So would you accept that as being real because you can see it in an image?
infinite universes, infinite possibilities, mate, probably aye.
So but that image itself, would you believe that image? Do you think it's real?
I don't think the image is real, no.
Okay. What about that image there? This is of apparently the globe Earth with a satellite. Would you say that image is real?
Nah, mate.
You wouldn't say it's real?
Nah.
Because it doesn't look real to you?
Nah, it doesn't look real.
Right. The next image is of another satellite next to the ball Earth. Would you say that's real?
Yeah.
You would say that image is real?
Yeah.
So what we're looking at here is another image of the Earth and a satellite. Can I ask you why you think that one's real?
Well, I couldn't tell you, to be honest with you, mate. It just looks more pixelated than the other one. The other one looked a bit high definition. It would be actual float for space.
What about this? This is a double-headed chicken here.
Aye, say that's true.
You'd say that was real?
Aye.
So a head at the bottom and its arse and a head at the top, you would say that was real?
Chances are, maybe, aye.
You're just taking a guess, right?
Aye, mate.
What about that?
Definitely not, mate.
That's not real, so we've got a cat with a sharp mouth. What about that?
Nah, definitely not.
That's not real. Unicorn?
Nah, mate.
It's not real.
Nah.
Unicorn? Not real. Ball Earth from
Aye.
space? You think that's real?
Aye.
Okay, so that's enough of the images right now. If I ask you to look at this, can you tell me if you agree with that?
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
Right, so we know that water behaves like this and like this. Doesn't matter what's under the surface of the water, the top will always be flat.
Yeah.
You ever seen water behaving like that?
No.
You've never seen it behaving like that?
Unless it's river and to do with deepness, no.
Unless it's flowing.
Structure, yeah.
If there was a curvature to the water, you would know it was flowing, is that
Yeah.
right?
Aye.
So, you know that then. So if I get back to the images that I just showed you of the ball Earth in space, and you think they're real,
Yeah.
but yet I've just pointed to you about how water behaves, and that's fluid mechanics. That's what we test and observe and repeat every single day in reality. So
Yeah.
we know that water always lies flat.
Yeah.
They say that the Earth is 80% covered in water. So how can it be a ball?
Because it's gravitationally, it's a sphere.
Gravitationally?
Aye.
What do you mean?
Well, that's what we see it as, that's what we know it as, man. I couldn't tell you why. I don't think it's flat, if I'm being honest with you. It just seems a bit stupid to think that we're living on something
Something level?
Aye.
Well, have you ever seen the ball Earth with your own eyes?
No, I've not, no.
Have you ever seen curvature anywhere?
No.
When you look out at the horizon, you know what the horizon is?
Yes.
Where the sky,
The line where the sky and
the land meet. What shape is it?
flat. Straight line, yeah.
But you still think it's ridiculous to think that you live on a level plane?
Yep.
You do?
Aye.
So what if I was to say to you, we were talking about disclosure earlier on, and you're talking about aliens and stuff. What if I was to say to you that the real disclosure is that these institutions have been faking going to space, and they've been telling us lies that the Earth is actually a ball when it's not a ball, it's a level plane we live on? How do you feel about that?
I'd say you're right to your own opinion, but from
So if we remove opinions,
to my understanding, I know we have observatories, telescopes, and we can actually view things from there. If you look at the moon from our Earth, that's also round. It's a sphere shape.
Have you seen it as a sphere shape, or have you seen one face and it looks like a flat circular disc?
One face, it looks like a flat circular disc, but depending on where you are in the world, everyone can look up and see the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So,
But they don't see the dark side, they only see that one face.
yeah,
Right, so if that's all you've ever witnessed, how do you know that it is a sphere?
because it's just down to what I've heard and what I know.
Yeah.
I can't give you
Yep.
facts on why I
Well,
would.
that's totally fair enough, but what I would say to you is, would you call it a logical fallacy or a red herring? Because if I look up at the sky and I see circles, does that mean I should automatically assume that I live on the same as what I see above me?
No.
No, because, you know, like a pool table, you know, is no round, but the balls are round. So again, you know, I go back to science. You were saying about opinions, and for me, natural science, the real core of science, is measurable, testable, repeatable. So that removes people's opinions, because we base things on empirical facts. You know, you can't debate reality, your opinion doesn't matter, your beliefs don't matter, it's just what we can test and observe. So if I refer you back to fluid mechanics again, right, fluid mechanics is well established and applied every single day. If I have any hole, or I want to measure something, or determine whether something's level, I would use water, because the properties of water are such that it doesn't have any form, it can only be contained, and the surface is always horizontal flat. It does not display convexity in any way, shape or form. You've never witnessed that with your own eyes or experienced it in your life anywhere, have you? Right, so then there's a real contradiction with these images and what we actually test and observe in reality. Would you say so?
Chances are maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So we spoke about gravity, and we get these things like, oh, it's gravity that causes it. Well, again, you know, if I come to you and I say, by the way, I think unicorns are real, right? Are you going to believe me?
I tell you, you're being ridiculous.
What if I gave you an explanation, a huge explanation, and then I produced equations to say that unicorns were real? Would you believe it?
No, not unless I could see it myself.
Right, exactly. So we'll go back to the water again. You've never seen convex curving water in your life, but you still believe the images.
Yeah.
Do you not think that's a contradiction?
In a sense, yeah. Now that you put it that way, it is.
So do you think maybe, you know, the likes of us have been born into a culture of brainwashing?
No, I think so too. I
Right.
believe that there's 250,000 years of humans being on this planet, and we only have access to 60,000. Any
Yeah.
information before that, it's either hidden from us or we don't know about it.
So you know that there's brainwashing going on and lies being told. Can I ask you, do you trust the government?
No, propaganda and media is huge.
So when you see images that are supposedly of space and Earth, and they're not really photographs, and they're coming from government sources, you still believe that?
Now that you've explained this, I guess it all comes down to, I don't even know, man.
You know? So would you trust your own senses over an image?
Yes,
You would.
yeah.
So as we go back again, you know, we spoke about your senses and what you experience every single day. Are you now going to base your reality on your own experience rather than what somebody tells you and what images they produce to you?
Probably I based on my perception.
Because if you do that, then somebody produces an image that contradicts your common sense everyday experience of reality. You're not going to throw out your common sense everyday experience in favour of that image, are you? No, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's stupid.
So this wee conversation that we've had, are you going to look into it more?
Probably it's actually quite interesting the way
Right.
you explained it, mate.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a card for a channel I have, a YouTube channel. We have nearly 7,000 subscribers.
Thank
It's
you.
called Beyond the Imaginary Curve, for obvious reasons. And you know, we've had many people new on board. This is becoming huge online. The governments and certain agencies are trying to attack it with ridicule, but for me, science can only be discussed. Science has to have the ability to say it's wrong, and it should be welcome in any question. And would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely, mate.
Yep. So what we do is I go live on a Saturday, and I invite anybody who thinks that they can prove that the Earth is actually a ball. Do you know how many people we've had proving that the Earth's a ball?
Probably none.
None. Does that not concern you?
In a sense, I kind of.
Yep. So we'll go back to aliens again. Now I'm not saying aliens are true, and I'm not saying, you know, that they're false. What I would say to you is this: do you not think it's a bit more exciting and a bit more attainable and possible to think that across the way there may be other existence,
Yeah, definitely.
rather than it being up there?
Yeah.
Right. So I would encourage you to check it out for yourself. Don't believe anything I've says to you. Don't believe anything anybody tells you. Trust your own common sense. Try and understand logic, reasoning and natural science and what it actually entails. And I would encourage people to stick to that, because if we stick to that, nobody can tell us lies. Do you understand? Yeah. So if you think you could prove that it's a globe,
No, after this,
right?
I don't think I'm going to even attempt that.
If you speak to anybody who thinks they can prove it's a globe, you pass it on and ask them to come and
Send them your way.
share it with us. Alright, thank you very much for taking
too,
part,
buddy.
man.
Have a
Thank
nice
you, bud.
day.
Alright. So we have another fine lady who's going to take part in my wee experiment here. What's your name, sorry?
Mary.
Mary Amdale.
How you doing?
doing alright? Could I ask you just to hold that camera for me for
Of course
2
you can.
minutes?
Yeah.
Thank you. I just want you to have a look at these images, and it's basically a simple, you know, is it fake or is it real?
Right.
Okay. Oops. So I'm going to go with the first one here. So we have Nessie. Would you say Nessie is fake, or would you say Nessie is real? You'd say fake. Can I ask you just to hold that again?
Yep.
Sorry about this.
No bother.
I just don't want. I just don't want you to see what I'm using here. Sorry, 2 seconds. Oh. Sorry, bear with me. I'll edit all that out anyway. I'm just looking for my newer ones. What have I done with them? Oh, sorry about this.
Sorry. That's science.
I had them there 2 seconds ago, and now I've lost them. Oh, where are they? Oh, here we go. Okay. So if I ask you to look at that image, which is a religious image of, I think, Jesus, would you say that's real or fake?
Jesus or the image?
The image.
Real.
You see that image is real?
Yeah.
But it's not an actual photograph though.
I would say that's probably a painting.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Is it real or is it a painting? You know, whatever.
Alright, yeah, I'd say it's a
Yeah.
real painting, but
But it's not real. It's not in
no,
reality.
it's no,
Right.
he's not standing there, no.
Right.
That's what I meant.
So here we have a two-headed chicken.
Ah,
Would you say that is real or fake?
fake.
Fake. Here we have a cat with a sharp
Oh my
mouth.
God.
Would you say that is real or fake? What about this one of the shark jumping into the helicopter?
Oh, let's go real.
You say,
For a
oh, you're going to
laugh.
say real, well, I'm going to say that's fake. So the purpose of me showing you these images is to say to people, if it's something that you don't experience in your everyday life, but somebody shows you an image, would you take the image over your everyday experience?
Probably not.
You wouldn't.
Hopefully not.
You would take it, you know, on your everyday experience, what
would
you can
hope so.
experience for yourself.
Yeah.
So if I just ask you again, sorry, just to hold that for me. So based on that then, if I show you this image, which is of the ball Earth, apparently from space, real or fake?
Real.
Real? Why?
Just because the kind of continents are there. So Africa's there.
Yeah.
And
If I
that
show
looks
if I
like
show you another
ice.
image here of the same ball Earth, with the hands cupping it.
You mean, is that something that's been taken and then an image put on it?
Yeah. The point is, you know, have you ever seen the ball Earth with your own eyes,
No.
but you accept it to be real?
Yeah.
Can I ask you why?
Just because there's been years and years of scientific evidence of the fact that it is round.
Could I ask you for one scientific fact that shows you the Earth is round?
Probably pictures coming out of places like NASA.
So if we've just established that, you know, do we trust our own common sense everyday experience, or do we trust an image from an institution?
Well, it's not just the image, it's everything that backs it up. So it's Galileo and people who have done scientific research on it as well. So it's not just the image, it's the image and everything else that goes along with it.
Would you say it was would be a logical fallacy for me to appeal to, you know, an authority or to somebody who lived 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago? You know, if we come to natural science and we base things on everyday observations, testing, repeating, You know, really that's like a logical fallacy. It's not really scientific to take somebody's word from 500 years ago. Would you agree with that?
Well, I suppose it's like looking at what's the actual option. I mean, if you're saying that it's not like that, where's the evidence to say that it is?
No, I'm going to show you.
If you're saying it's not round, then you're saying that it's another shape, and you're saying that it's flat. So
Well,
there needs to be the same evidence there as well.
If I show you this,
Yeah.
you tell me if you agree with that.
No.
You don't?
No.
What is it you disagree with?
Well, water goes like that when there's a tsunami.
Yeah, if there's motion, if there's waves.
Yeah.
But
Water goes like that if it's maybe over the brow of something.
well, we don't observe that and test that in reality every day, because if we look at this image here, it doesn't matter what's underneath the water, the surface is always parallel and flat. That's everyday tested experience. Would you agree with that?
Not if there's waves.
Oh, if there's motion.
But most water's got some form of wave in it.
Yeah. But if it's a standing body of water, would
If
you?
it's a standing body of water, it's going to look more like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But that wasn't the question. It was, does water always look like that? And it doesn't.
So
It does look
behaving.
Like that.
Yeah, it does.
Look like that. If there's a
Yeah.
tsunami, if there's-
I do agree, you know, that one there, if we have motion then you're going to
Yeah.
get waves that look like that. But the standing body of water, you know, it doesn't matter if I submerge anything underneath the water, I'm never going to see the silhouette on the top of the water. Would you agree with that?
Depends if something's floating.
Oh, if it's floating, if it's submerged.
Yeah. If it's submerged, no.
So we know
Unless
that...
it's a big thing that's submerged in it, and then you're going to have a dip when you put it in.
Yeah. So we know that all standing bodies of water do this, you know, if they're standing, even if there's waves, you know, the water would have to be contained, and if it's not flowing anywhere, you know that it's contained and the surface is always horizontal. Would you agree with that? Because that's science, that's everyday applied and tested science. Yeah. So if you took that as fact, then that would contradict the Earth being a globe, would it not?
No, because you've got to take gravity into account as well. So the Earth is on an axis and it uses gravity as well. So
Yeah. See,
if it was flat, where would it go at the end?
well, who knows? We can't get there.
Well, that's probably because it's a globe. So
Well-
there is no end at the end of it, because you would constantly go round and round it.
This is the thing, you know, I'm trying to invoke discussions with people to see whether people actually know it for themselves or whether they just regurgitate what they've always been told. Because I was the same for 30 odd years of my life. I regurgitated that stuff about gravity and the edge of the earth, you would fall off, when really, you know, when I looked at it, these were ideas that were put to me through my childhood, through my culture.
So what do you think then? Do you think the Earth is flat?
I don't think, for me, science and observations and testing tells me that we live on a level plane.
Right, so where does it end then?
I don't know. Have you ever heard of the Antarctic Treaty?
Yeah, I studied international law at university, so I know quite a lot about international law.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, nice one. So, common man can't just go there expeditions themselves, can they?
Not at the Antarctic, no.
Right. So,
Well, you can if you apply.
is it 57 nations then who are part of the Antarctic Treaty? Is that right? So in the middle they're all at war with each other, but they decide they're going to be friends to protect this little patch of ice.
It's due to territorial waters and oil,
Yeah.
largely, not because it's flat.
Could they be to stop us from getting there and discovering what's beyond?
No, it's probably to stop us using the oil that's in that area, because that's the reason why the Antarctic Treaty was done, because there's a joint territorial waters thing going about the Antarctic.
Am I correct in saying that they say it's to conserve the wildlife and to stop it from being contaminated?
I think they use it for joint research purposes is the line that they give, so.
Yeah. Well, thanks for speaking to me, but
No bother at all.
the whole purpose was to say to people, look, you know, why do we ignore common sense everyday experience over an image?
I work in a university, I'm more of a scientist, so.
So I know I've had a couple of weeks of feeling off and feeling a bit flat and frustrated, but you know, people need to understand that that's the way it can get. I'm an impatient guy, I'm not perfect. So, you know, the activism and the street stuff, you know, I do encourage everybody to keep at it. It's just for me personally, it can get tedious if you're doing it every single day. But I've had a break now, you know, and I'm feeling refreshed and back, so I don't want to be putting doubt or negativity onto anybody. It's just when I see people who are, you know, doing it for the wrong reasons because they want views and they want to be a personality, that's when I have a problem. But, you know, I'm here at the universities, and the reason I'm doing it here is because I'm trying to provoke them into giving us a response. You know, get some people to come forward and discuss this, because at the end of the day, that's what we're saying to people. You know, science has to be open to discussion, science has to be open to question, and anybody who says they're representing science should never be trying to suppress anybody's questions or any discussions. So this is the whole point. Let's try and get this out in the open and get everybody discussing it. So